Hey guys, welcome back. In this video we're going to discuss all about how to build a budget app using React.js. So let's look at the project that we will create that. So I'm going to put the value on there is description is a survey, and I'm going to put the values 1000. This is my income, and I'm going to put the values I'm going to add the values other. Right now the values are stored in the table and also in the current balance, total income. Right now this is the default 0 expenses. Right now I'm going to put the value as expenses, then the expenses will be reduce my current balance, right, when I will enter the value in the amount section. Right, so let's select the buy a mouse. I'm going to put the value 100 expenses. Right now this is my other, this is the category guys, by the way. I'm going to put the value on there is 100. Right now this is my expenses, this is my current balance. When my expenses is 100, my current balance is 900. When I will delete that, my current balance is 1000 as well. Let's put one more time buy a mouse, buy a keyboard. I'm going to put the value and I'm going to use 350 expenses other. Right now as you can see guys, right, so let me share with you guys how you can create it from scratch. I'm going to close that, and right now this is my project, but I will share you how you can create it from scratch. So I'm going to create a folder and I'm going to use copy budget app, open the project in the VS Code editor. Right now I'm going to add the command to npm create Vite letters. Right, I'll create a Vite project. Dot means current folder, copy budget project, and I'm going to use React JavaScript, and I need to execute the command npm install, and then I am able to use the React inside my project. Right, so we need to wait a couple of seconds. After completing that, I will use the Tailwind CSS as well by designing the application, and also I will use the React component icons that will help us to display the icons. Right, so we need to wait a couple of seconds to install the node modules, and we're gonna work on that project from scratch as well. Right, so once you complete that, then we will be able to execute the command like npm run to display the default project inside our browser. Right, cool. So let me reduce my code by deleting some unnecessary files like app.css, and I'm gonna remove this one as well. Right, and close that. Let's go to Tailwind CSS, and right now this is a 4.0 version, but I will use 3.4 and previous version, by the way, because I will get the suggestion in the latest version. You can't get the suggestion inside the VS Code editor. So I'm going to select the framework Vite, and I need to execute the commands like npm install. First of all, I'm going to stop the project and copy paste. Oh, what happened on there? Okay, and also we need to get another command like that. Once it will be installed, then I will execute another command like this one. We have successfully installed Tailwind CSS, but we need to add this one code inside the content. There we go, we will be able to use that Tailwind CSS. Last thing I need to add it and my index.css. Great. Let's add the font. By the way, I need to add site React. This is a library that we'll use to add the, by the way, I'm going to use npm copy, and it will help us to display the icons. So I'm going to install that as well. And last thing, I need to get the Google Fonts. Pop in Google Fonts. I'm going to click to get Google Fonts. I'm going to use import copy and I'm going to paste on the top, remove that, and also I'm going to select the body. By default I will assign the Google font is font family, should be Poppins. That's it. So let me close it, and I'm going to create the project. Execute the command npm run dev. We will be able to see nothing. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna move RFC. Why I can't get that? I think just a minute, RFC read the default things, and there we go. Right, so step number 1, we will design the application, right? So that our app project, and yeah, so in the app project I'm going to use class name should be min height is string and bg sync 300 is best. In my whole project, inside there I'm going to use the container that will help us to assign the content in the center of the page, and also I will add another class as margin left and right outer, padding at top and bottom, left and right 4. Right, the next thing I'm going to add it there, assign the class flex item should be center, justify center, and I'm going to add the cap should be 2, margin bottom I'm going to add that at, right? Inside that I'm going to get the wallet, right? That's our icon wallet that is coming from the React component library, and I'm going to put the values like text should be first of all I'm going to assign the size is 32, and then I'm going to add the values class text should be blue. The next thing I'm going to add it h1 budget transaction, and then I will add the classes like text should be 3xl, font should be Paul, and text k 800. First of all I'm going to save the file, and okay, I can see, okay, yeah, I don't know why I can't see anything else, but don't worry, I will execute the command one more time. It should be display the content inside my project, inside my browser. Yeah guys, I'm getting the videos right. I'm going to close all of the unnecessary tabs. This is my budget transaction, and behind have a background, right? So yeah, after this one there, inside the container I will create a component. First of all I'm going to create a component balance, and I will create a folder components. Inside this one folder I'm going to create a component like balance.jsx and write the command rfce to getting the default values, and I'm going to remove the e and enter one more time. It should be appointed on my web page. Right, cool. So let's move on the component like balance. In the balance we will design the our cards. So let's do that. So I'm going to assign the class grid call 1, and the medium screen side I'm going to use grid call 3, and the gap should be 4, margin bottom should be at, right? Inside there I'm going to use the class should be bgplu 300 and padding 6 also around it ig, and first of all I'm going to use tab to getting all of the values. Also, I will add another values inside. There is shadow MD flex justify. First of all, justify between item should be center. Inside this one section, I will use the class name is flex and item should be center, gap should be 2, and also margin bottom should be 2. Inside this one, I will assign the dollar icon and size should be 32, right? And yeah, I will assign the class name should be text green 500. Okay, close that. So that's my dollar sign, and then I'm going to use h2 tag. That's my current balance. We're going to add the classes text to Excel, font semi bold, and text should be gray. I'm going to use the 50 is best. First of all, I'm going to save the file, and text should be semi bold gray 500. First of all, I'm going to check that 500. I'm going to remove that because I will display the bold. Yeah, that's perfect. So after this one, h2 tag outside of this one, right? Yeah, and that's our display flex item center. And just a minute. Okay, after this one I will use paragraph, and I'm going to use the value 565 static value. Yeah, the data have appear in the beside of the project, beside of the current balance. So I'm going to assign the classes like text should be 2XL, font should be bold, and yeah, first of all I'm going to save the file and let's look at that. Yeah, great guys. So this is my first one card. We will create more than 2 cards. So yeah, I'm going to get that this one, and just change that color is green, and that's my total income. And I'm going to use the static values right now, but I will use it after designing that. I will display the dynamic values. The last thing is expenses, right? And then what I'm going to do on there and the expenses, I will use BGFet. Right, so I'm going to save the file and look at that, guys. These are my cards. After the cards, I will design the form, right? So I'm going to close this one, balance tab, and I will create another component like transaction form, right? I will create that folder. I'm in file, transaction form.jsx rfc. Sorry for that. Remove it and enter it to display the transaction form details inside my web page. So let's design that form sketch. So by the way, I have just a minute, I will get the file from my previous folder, like where is the content. I need to get the budget. I'm gonna find out the file. I can't find that because I have categories. So let me find out. No, I'll create it in a minute. Alright, so I'll create it on later. This time I just designed the form. So remove that and use from, and send BG wide, padding 6, rounded IG, and shadow MD, and margin bottom add. Right? Inside that I'm going to use H2 and use add new transaction. Send the classes text XL, font semi-bold, margin bottom 4, text K. By the way, I will use the default ones. I'm going to set the file and look at that, guys. Right, after the H2 I will divide the input fields. So by using grid calls 1 in the smallest string size, I have grid column 1. In the largest string size, I'm going to use MD grid calls 2, right? And the gap should be 4. Inside that I will use only on div, and the div I will use the label tag, leave the HTML file, so use the description, and also I need to assign the classes as well. Block text should be SM, font medium, and text should be gray, 700, and gap margin bottom 1, right? And after this one I will use the input field, type text class width full, and padding all side to border, rounded MD, focus ring. The ring I'm gonna use blue 500, and focus border blue 500. Yeah, placeholder, I'm gonna add enter your description. So that's my one input field, right? So I will create it more than second input field. In the second input field I'm going to put the various amount, and that will enter your amount, and the type should be number. Alright, after that I will use the type, right? So I will get the same thing, but I will change it as a, just a minute, I will divide that. So that's my first one, second one, and that's our third one, right? In the third one I will use the type, right? So in the type I will use the select. In the select have option, the values expenses, and there I'm going to use expenses. The next one is income, and there I'm going to use income, right? So we need to add the classes in the select with full. Yeah, I'm going to use the tab to get all of the classes. Right, as you can see, guys, this is my first, second, and third fields. The last thing I need to add it is copy. I just paste that, and we need to add it as a category. So just use category. And by the way, I will use the category static. I will create it dynamically on later. Just use category, just like that, right? By default. So that's our second section. The third section, we need to design the table, right? The last thing, we need to design the transaction list. Yeah, that will be transaction list. So I will create that component, transaction list.jsx, write the RFC, and I need to remove the last character, enter it again to import that inside the project, and yeah, I'm getting the transaction list. So let's design that, and then we will work on the static to dynamic details to put in the value inside our form. And yeah, so let's add that bg white rounded algae shadow Andy, and there I'm gonna use the class should be overflow x auto, and I'm gonna use the table tag which should be full, and then I'm gonna use t heading means table heading, and then I'm gonna use bg gray 50. Inside that I'm going to use tr table row, th table heading, padding 6, top and bottom is 3. Our text will be moved on the left side, and text size is XS. Right, font should be medium, and I'm going to use text should be gray or 500, and text should be uppercase. And tracking I'm going to use wider. These are talent CSS classes, guys. So in the first one I'm going to use the date. This is my static value, and I'm going to copy it multiple times, like a second time is description, and the third time I need to add it as a category. Right, and yeah, I'm going to getting it. The fourth one is amount, and last one is action. Right, so I'm going to save the file, and I'm getting the value inside the web page. Great. After the th, I need to use a t body, t body. Right. In the t body I need to add the same thing, yeah, gray, but also I'll add the bg white in there. So inside that I'm gonna use same thing tr td. The first one I'm gonna use static date like 05/02/1/2025, and the next one I'm going to add the values transaction for the next description by a car, and category should be other, and then the next one is I need to add it amount, and final one is button tag. Right, so in the button I need to add the button tag, guys. In the button I will use trash to icon that is coming from my icon library. Right now, as you can see, but I will assign the classes, don't worry. So in the trash I will use class px6, means padding top and bottom 6, not top and bottom left and right 6. py means top and bottom 4. white space, not this one, guys, this is a td class, I don't need to use that. Text red 500, and then I will hover the mouse and text should be red. So I'm going to save the file. Yeah, great, as you can see. So let me add the classes in the, first of all I'm going to add the classes like class hover bg gray 50. On each td I will assign the same classes px6 padding left and right 6, top and bottom 4, white space, no red. So I'm gonna copy it and I'm gonna just use multiple cursor space, paste that, save, and look at that, guys. So this is our designing section. So yeah, we're gonna work on the logics to add the values inside the table, inside the local storage, and perform all the operations that we have seen on earlier, right? So let's move on the code editor, and we're gonna create a button tag. By the way, guys, after this one form, we need to design the form button tag. Then we're gonna work on another thing. So I'm gonna close this one, and I'm gonna open the transaction form, and inside the form tag, I'm gonna create a button tag that will help us to perform the action, right? So I'm gonna use add transaction. Assign the class is like class name should be margin top 4, which should be full, bg blue 500, and I'm gonna use text white, padding top and bottom 2, padding left and right 4, rounded MD, and when I hover the mouse, I'm gonna use bg 600. Like, and I'm gonna use flex, item sender, and justify sender, gap should be 2. By the way, these are unnecessary classes, but I use that to display the content in the center of the page. Great, guys. So we have successfully designed our complete application. So we're gonna work on the static data to dynamic data. So I need to open the transaction form, right? And the transaction form, I have a categories. So first of all, I need to get the categories from my this one file. This is a dummy. I'm gonna copy and I'm gonna paste on there, right? So I will use this one category arrays to get the data from there and display the data inside my form tag, right? The next thing, I'm gonna create a state. So yeah, I'm going to create a state const form data set form data, and I don't need to use React, I just use state. By the way, I will create a object. Reason for creating object, because I will get the multiple values from my input field. So let me show you how you can do that. Step number 1, assign the values description. This is the key, and default value I'll assign the empty. The next one, amount, and type should be the default expenses, category should be other, right? So this is my form data, this is my function that will help us to manage these fields, right? The next thing, I'm going to create a function handle submit, passing the e means element, whatever the name you want to call it, e.prevent default, and I'm going to copy that function and I'm going to add it on submit like this one. When I click on the button or press enter button, this function will execute this one, right? The next thing, I need to get the values from input fields, and we need to assign the values from this one form data. So how you can do that? Let's use simple tactics to perform this one operation. So I'm going to assign the values form data. This is, by the way, object. Inside the object have a 1 by 1 values that I have assigned on earlier. So the first one is description, like this one, and I need to copy that, and I'm gonna put on there, just change that as I want. These values are coming from there, right? Let's move on. In the expenses, so where is expenses? I need to pass the value on the select element, so that will be in the select form data.type, right? So finally I need to assign the value on there is value form data, and that will be form data value. Which value I will use on there? By the way, this is a category, so I will use that on later because I will get the multiple values, right? So I'm gonna leave that the values on there just like this one. The next thing, I need to get the input value and assign the value on each keys. So let's do this. So when I click the event, means I will add the event when user will change the value from input field. So I need to target that by calling on change event e one by one. I need to get that, and I need to target my set form data function have an object. Remember, right now this is the object. Inside the object have a keys and values. So you need to use simple thing. Make a copy of the form data, then this will be description key, and I need to get the value from input field. So I need to use e.target.value. When user will enter something inside the description field, the value will be stored inside the description key. When you will call the description, first of all I will show you. I'm going to use console.log and I'm going to use form data. So let me show you how that's work. I'm going to open the inspect, and by the way I'm going to close it, console, and I'm going to use something, hit enter. I'm getting value right now. As you can see, the description is this one, right? You can use same thing by getting the value one by one from input fields. I'm going to copy it, paste on there, just change the values like that will be amount, right? And that will be type, right? And the last thing is category, right? So in the category is very simple thing. So first of all I'm going to remove this one, expenses, and then where is the event? I will use on change. So by the way, this is type. In the type I don't need to change anything else, but in category I need to change few things. So right now this one is category, is very important. Okay, so first of all I need to use on change event, use e, use set form data, same thing, calibrate it, form data, comma, category, e.target.value, right? So in the options I need to get the value from my array like this one, and display those values inside the select box. So let's do this. So I'm gonna cut that. I'm gonna come in out right now, and I'm gonna use categories dot map and function. I'm gonna use cat, whatever the value you will pass on there, and I'm gonna just use return keyword and passing this one value. I'm gonna use that, and also I need to assign the key as well on there. First of all I'm gonna save that. I'm getting values right now, as you can see guys, from my drop down menu. So first I'm gonna refresh my page. Let's write something, mouse 350, expenses, hit enter, and I'm getting value, amount, category, description, type. When I will change the type like income, and my type is income, and category is other, by default is other, but I change it. Right now I'm getting the value investment, right? Cool. So we are successfully getting the values and store the values inside the my state variable, like this one, state object, right? Great. The next thing, I need to create a function inside the handle. This function is help us to set the default values in the object. So let's see, set form data. I need to target that, this one, calibrate it, and I'm going to use description. By the way, I'm going to use description. Okay, what happened on there? And the description, nothing. I'm going to use this thing to set the default values, because I will use context API to get the value from local storage and store the value from store the value in the local storage as well. So that's the reason I'm using this one, set form data, right? So let's work on the context API. So let's create a folder, context, and inside that I will create a function. I will create a file, by the way, first of all, context. So inside this one you need to create a variable budget context. Whatever you want to add the name on there, I'm going to use the budget context, and then I will call the function create context, like this one. The next thing, make an initial state variable, have an object and key. You need to assign the key like transaction, whatever the name you want to pass on there. I'm going to use reusable names and assign the default empty array. The next thing is you need to create a function export, function budget provider, and inside that you need to pass children, curly brackets, and I need to use a written keyword, parenthesis. The first one is the budget context dot provider, and yeah. So first of all, just a minute, this is very tricky. Okay, that's perfect. And yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna save the file and nothing changing inside there. The next thing, you need to copy this one, I mean cut that, and use budget provider, close it, use it inside there. It means you can use context API to pass the value anywhere inside the application by using this one tactics. Let me open that, and yeah, it's working fine. Great. So those are optional, but you need to use that, because I will use these variables like initial states to add the values on them. So let me share you how you can add the values inside this one by using use reducer hook, right? So let's work on that. First of all, you need to create a state and dispatch. Inside that you need to use reducer. Inside the use reducer you need to pass two parameters. The first one is a budget reducer. I will create that function. The next one is the initial state. Like this one variable that have a empty array. I'll create that function, guys. So let me create function. Okay, and we need to pass two parameter state, comma, action, curly brackets, and I need to target the switch statement. Inside that I need to use action dot type, curly bracket. If the case will be match our add transaction, this is the whole code, guys, that will help us to add the values. If the case value will be match add transaction, then return the current state, means make a copy of the current state. and calling the transaction empty array, and inside that you need to target transaction current state dot transactions, action the payload, whatever the payload or action will be performed. How you can perform the action? So you need to target dispatch function to perform the operation, or dispatch the function which you have assigned on there. So let me show you how you can use it. Inside the budget provider, I'm going to create a function add transaction, passing the value transaction, whatever the value you will pass on there. I'm going to reuse multiple times each name because I remember that. Then you need to target the dispatch like this one, parenthesis, curly bracket. Inside that you need to use type. The type is match with our case, right? The type is match with our case, like a transaction, then payload the transaction. Step number 1. But in the payload I have a multiple values, so I will pass is curly brackets. First of all, I'm going to curly brackets, and the first one is transaction, and this is a parameter, and the next one is I'm going to assign the ID. The ID is crypto dot random UUID. That is function that will help us to generate the random ID. Also I'm going to assign the key new date function, and I need to convert it to the local string, right? So this is my function. I need to target that function and passing that inside my budget context API. So inside the value I need to pass that, right? So first of all, you need to use transactions. Yeah, first I need to check that. Yeah, the transactions, first one value is transaction, the next one is first state of transaction, the next one is add function. What happened on there? Okay, that's perfect. This is the key, the value is this one, and this is the optional function that will help us to add the values. So I need to get this one function inside the transaction form. How you can do that? So you need to create a custom hook. Function use budget. Inside that I'm going to use context variable, calling the use context and passing the budget context variable that I have made on top, right? Then I need to use if the context is undefined, throw an error, otherwise I need to return the context. So I will use budget custom hook to get the value from this one. So let me show you how you can do that. Go to transaction form, and inside the transaction form you need to destruct the value from the custom hook. So how? Let's do that. I'm going to use const and calibrate it. Which value you will get from the context API? I need to get the transactions, and the next one is add form from use budget. So I'm gonna remove it. Right, cool. So we will use transaction and add transaction function inside the transaction form component, right? The next thing is I need to target the event. When user will click on the event, I need to perform the add transaction function, right? So let's do that. I need to use if not from the description or not from, this is a simple validation guys, and return value. If anyone user enter nothing inside the input field, then I need to return the value, means return nothing. So let's call the add transaction, but I need to check that add transaction. Yeah, I need to copy that, and that's our object. And I'm going to use description form data. I need to get the value from there, like just a minute, form data, like this one. So this is the key, the value is coming from form data or description, amount, and so on and so forth. This is the function. So yeah, that's perfect. So let's try out the transaction. But why I use the transaction inside there? Just a minute, I'm gonna copy it and let me use console.log and use transaction inside the console. What happened, I will get inside the console. So let me open the console and mouse 350, hit enter. Yeah, I'm getting values right now, as you can see, and as you can see guys, so this is the amount that I have entered inside the input field. This is the category, and this is the date. This date is coming from my context API. This is the description that is coming from my input field, and this is the ID that is coming from my context API that I made on there. Right now, as you can see, ID and date. Right, cool. So yeah. So the next thing is I need to store the value inside the local storage, and I need to get the value from local storage to display that inside my table. So step number 1, we need to store the value inside our local storage, right? So we need to move on the context, budget context, and inside that you need to, just a minute, before a transaction, I'm gonna use effect hook and parenthesis, calibrate it, and empty array. Inside the empty array, I need to target state dot transaction. When the state transaction will be changed, then use effect will be execute. Inside this one, I need to target a local storage dot set atom. So inside the set atom, I need to add the value like budget transactions. And the next thing is I need to convert it as JSON.stringify, and we need to pass the value state of transaction like this one. So we need to store the value in the local storage. Sorry for that guys. So let me open the memory, not the application, and yeah, as you can see. So let me check it now. I'm gonna use mouse 100, and yeah, right, cool guys. I'm able to see the values are stored inside the local storage. The next thing, I need to get this one values from local storage. Let's do that. So we need to use simple thing. First of all, I need to comment out this one, because I will create a function load initial state. Inside that, I need to create a variable save transaction local storage dot get item, which item budget underscore transaction. Otherwise, we need to return the value, which value transactions key save transaction. Otherwise, JSON.parse save transaction, nothing. So that's our function. We need to copy it and uncomment that, paste this one as well on there. That's it. So we have stored the value by using use effect hook inside the local storage, and that function will help us to get the value from local storage with the name of budget transaction. Great. So we need to passing this one value inside our local storage. So yeah, so let me, I think I need to remove this one. I don't need that on there. because yeah, great, because I will display that inside the transaction on their transaction list, right? So inside that we need to display that values. So let's do that to display the values. So const, I'm going to use transactions on there, and the next one is use budget. Okay, I will use transaction. First of all, I'm going to console that, so it should be displayed on the console. As you can see guys, I'm getting values, mouse and so on so far. But when I will remove the values on the application, right click it and delete that, open the console, refresh your page, can't see anything else. Cool. So yeah, we're gonna use a loop through to display the values inside there. Okay, so this is the T body, TR tag, before TR tag. I'm gonna cut out, right, and use curly bracket, use transaction.map, and I'm gonna use transaction, and we need to use return and TR, this one. By the way, I need to assign the key is transaction.id, and we need to store the one by one value on there. The first one is which value? I'm gonna use new date transaction date to local date string. So function, and the next one is description, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use transaction dot description, and the next one is transaction dot category. The next one is amount, right? Okay, so amount. First of all, I'm going to check it now. It's working or not. You can't see anything else, but then I will add the value, mouse 350, and hit enter. As you can see guys, this is my description, category, amount. Cool. So we're gonna use simple CSS, simple logics to design that. So yeah, so we're gonna design few things. This is the amount. In the amount, I need to use two fixed function that will display the only on two values after the first one decimal. And I'm gonna cut the function and class, use little template, and I will use the conditional rendering to display the green and red values, I mean color. So template, just a minute, what happened, class name K2 parentheses and little template on there, padding 6, this is default white space no wrap, and after that I'll use $, and I'm going to use condition transaction that type equal to expenses to display the red color, otherwise display the green color. So I'm going to save the file, and yeah, let me write mouse. Okay, transaction.amount.fixed is another function. Okay. Okay, I will fix it in just a minute. Save the file. Okay, mouse right? This is a green sign. And okay, just a minute, I'm going to check that expenses has problem. So I'm going to save the file, and when you have selected the expenses, the icon, the color is red, but when you select the income, and this will be green sign, guys, right? That's perfect. Let's fix this one, but before fixing it, I will use transaction.type is expenses to display the minus sign. Display the income, I use opposite, display this one, otherwise display the minus sign. Okay, and I'm going to use that on there, and let's try it to add it to fixed. Okay, I'm going to save the file. Okay, here's the problem, guys. So right now I'm gonna use a simple thing like this one, but why I'm not getting the value from local storage, and by default I store the value inside the local storage. So let me check it now, what is happening on the use effect. Standard transaction will be changed. So let me write one more time. 100, hit enter. I'm gonna refresh my page. Yeah, the details are stored inside the local storage, guys, as you can see. I refresh my page, right? Good. I'm gonna close that and stop the application, execute it one more time, and let me check it now. Yeah, guys, I'm getting the value from local storage and store the value inside there. Cool. The next thing is I need to calculate the value and store the value inside the cards, and also I need to perform the operation like when user will click on that to delete the values, right? So we're gonna work on the context API by doing all of the operations, right? So let's move on our budget reducer to create another case that will help us to delete the details. I'm gonna use case delete transaction. That's my key. Inside that I need to use return. What do you want to return? I'm gonna use current state, right? And also transaction, and that's our code that will help us to delete the value. Make a copy of the state, calling the transaction, this is the key, and passing the value transaction.state.transactions, and filter out the current transaction ID is not matched with our action.payload. That's it. We need to create the dispatch function that will help us to dispatch the value, right? So let's move on first of all I'm add transaction, and after this one I'm going to use delete transaction. So create a function const delete transaction, passing the ID, and then you need to use yeah, that's perfect. You need to copy the function and pass it inside your budget context.provider. That's it. So you need to move on the transaction list, destruct that, delete transaction, and you need to copy the function, and you need to move on the button tag on click event, and you need to use transaction.id. That's it. Okay, I think I don't need that, so let me click on that. As you can see, I'm gonna refresh my page, can't see anything else. Let me add the value keyboard and enter 1000. This is my income, not this one. I'm gonna use salary. Hit enter, right? Date, salary, investment, and the value. The final step is we need to calculate the values and display on the current balance on there, total income, total expenses. So we're gonna work on the budget context and perform all the operations. So we need to work on the complete on there. So budget provider, delete operation. So let me use the getting the balance, right? Okay, const, I'm gonna use balance state.transactions and transactions.reduce accumulator transaction curly brackets, right, and comma .0. Inside the curly brackets you need to use return, transaction type is income, and yeah, transaction type is income, accumulator plus sign, pass float, not pass. I will write it, just a minute. Yeah, great. So return transaction that type is income, to calling the accumulator plus transaction dot amount, right? Otherwise accumulator minus transaction dot amount. That's it. I'm gonna copy the balance and I need to pass on there. This is our balance. Next one is income, so I need to use income, const income, and same thing you need to do, state.transactions dot reduce, and yeah, that's our code. First I'm going to check it. Transaction dot type is income, accumulated transaction dot amount, otherwise display the accumulator. Yeah, great. The last thing is expenses, so let's use comment const expenses state dot transactions and dot reduce. No reduce, I'm going to use filter function that will filter out the values. I'm going to put the value t dot type, and type is expenses dot reduce accumulator. Okay, accumulator. I need to use the just a minute. Reduce accumulator current, and I need to use accumulator plus current value. Okay, and use comma 0. Okay. Okay, great. So yeah, so we need to pass income and expenses inside our budget provider. Like there, I need to destruct that inside our application. So yeah, so I need to move on there and open the balance, right? In the balance, cons, you need to get the balance. What is the balance in the small characters? Balance and income expenses from use budget hook. That's it. Copy that and just use balance on there, and that's our total income, total, and this is current balance, and that's our income. Okay, and that's our expenses. First of all, I'm going to save the file, and I'm getting the value right now from 0, and yeah, why I'm able to see the 0 in the starting time. So let me in the income, okay, I don't know where is the values going, and the budget context, I need to fix that. That's income, and the expenses, and there is a 0, guys, just a minute. Okay, I will use conditional rendering on there, so I think it should be remove that, right? Okay, balance, I use $sign, and right now I'm going to use to fixed function. That's better. I think I'm not, I think something is wrong on there, guys. So balance $0 and 1000, and I'm gonna remove it. Yeah, so yeah, we're gonna fix a few things inside there. The first one is class, so I'm gonna remove it, and I'm gonna use calibrate it. Little template, text should be to Excel, font should be bold, and I'm going to use the conditional rendering balance greater than equal to 0. The text should be black. Just a minute, what happened on there? Balance greater than 0. Text should be black, 500, otherwise text should be red, 500. Okay, so save the file. Okay, cool. Why I'm seeing the problem to display the $sign and $sign as well. So let me try out. So I'm going to use 350, and that's our not this one, is it? This is salary, and 350 expenses, not this one. I'm going to use income, and yeah, I'm able to see the values. So yeah, here is a 0. I think something is wrong on the code, but let's try it by a mouse, and I'm gonna maybe put the value. This is expenses, hit enter, right? So this has been fixed, this doesn't fixed, and also I'm able to see something is wrong on the expenses. So let's move on the budget context, and we're gonna fix it. So step number 1, we need to find out the problem. Where is context balance? Balance is state.transactions.reduce. This is the accumulator transaction. Return transaction.type is income. Okay. Accumulator plus transaction amount, otherwise transaction is yeah, that's perfect. State of transactions, reduce accumulator transaction, return transaction dot type income, accumulator transaction amount, and it is also perfect. But why I'm able to see the problem inside the application? Okay, let's find out the problem, guys. So yeah, expenses, state.transactions.filter, t.type equal to expenses, reduce accumulated. Yeah, it is also okay. Current value dot amount, and yeah, I think that's our problem. Yeah guys, I'm able to see the 100, but before 100 I'm able to see the 0 has been appeared. So I don't know where 0 is coming from. So let me find out the 0. Where is the 0 is coming from? And the table have nothing, as you can see, only on there. Okay, let me remove it. Remove this one, and let's try out salary 1000, and that's my income. And let's 300, not buy a car. 300, that's my expenses. And yeah, this has been fixed. So yeah, we're gonna find out the problem, guys. Just a minute. So guys, I think I need to find out the problem inside the form, and inside the form have add form, right? So this is the amount, so in the amount I need to convert it in the parse float, and yeah, then I will be able to use to fixed function on each of this one. To fixed, I can't see any problem. I think that's our total income, and also I'm gonna use to fixed, and also I need to use the current balance dot to fixed like 2. So let me, okay, balance dot to fixed 2. Okay, just a minute, I'm gonna remove the application. Okay, can't delete that. Okay, let's try it. So what I'm gonna use by sum is only 100 income. Yeah guys, the problem has been solved. Right now as you can see 100, 100 and 100. Yeah, and yeah, we're gonna add the expenses like 30 buy a mouse, and 30 expenses investment, not this one, I'm gonna use other. Okay, cool guys. So this is my expenses, this is my current balance, my total income is 100, and yeah, the values are stored in the local storage as well. And yeah, all of the operations are working fine guys, and it is fully responsive. I know it's a little bit of tricky, but when you will use context API, you can learn a lot of things guys. So guys, I hope you understood as well all about it. So thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day.